자, DLC 끝내봅시다. DLC 풀탑 얼마나 걸릴지 모르겠네요. 오늘 마무리했으면 좋겠는데 그렇게까지 간단하진 않겠지? 뒷담할 정도로 똑똑하진 않다고. 뭐? 켜낭이라고? 그렇게 얘기하지 마. 그렇게 얘기하면은 내일로 미뤄진다고. 이거 따도 되는 거야? 근데 여기가 어디야? 아, 여기 우리 스승님 주무시는 곳이잖아. DLC 그거 용병단부터 하죠. 얘 왜 말 타고 있어? 지금 장비가 좀 부서진 게 있는 것 같은데 이거 내 말이지? 소리하고 그 다음에 가자. 마을 재건부터 하는 게 낫다고? 아, 이쪽 아닌데? 테레사네 집이라니. 우리 결혼할 사이란 말이에요. 우리 집! 우리 집이지.
I heard. I know. Oh, I know. Really? Really. Good luck, man.
아니, 거래를 해야 되는데 대장장이 저 칼 때문에 이게 꼬여버렸네. 뭐 먹었는지 보고하라고요? 그냥 집밥 먹었어요. 깨끗. 땅 팠어. 테레사가 너 말고 만난 남자가 3명 된다고? 뭐? 왜 우리 테레사 자꾸 모욕하는 거야? 요한카가 보냈니?
야.
요한카 태워주겠냐고요? 아니요. 그냥 좀 정신 좀 차리라고 훈육을 좀 했어요. 아침인가? 여자에 미쳐서 길을 닿았다고.
I hope I God be with you.
Let's have a word. Is this?
That's
아니 내가 지한테 팔아준 게 얼만데 어? 내 덕분에 부자 됐으면 솔직히 나 정도는 공짜로 고쳐줘야 되는 거 아니야? 진상이라뇨. 아니 얘 원래 돈 10,000원인가 그거밖에 없었는데. 아 10,000원이래. 아 10,000원이지. 내 덕분에 돈 2배로 됐다고. 2배 뭐야 지금 벌써. 쟨 나 덕분에 먹고 살고 있다니까. 이건 그래도 세템이니까 갖고만 있자.
Can we do some? What about this? Since it
close. Aye. For that amount, I can be persuaded.
근데 쟤는 저 덕분에 완전 부자 됐다고요. 용병단 관련된 게 하다가 말았었거든. 그래서 그거 빨리 마무리 짓고 그 다음에 도시 재건하는 거 그거 하자.
야!
용병단 거가 어디까지 했지? 줄가문 방패 찾아가지고 걔가 협박하는 편지도 보냈고 그래서 그거 조사 중이죠.
야! 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 Henry, come here.
What is it, Jakey?
The stone wants to talk with you, if you can call it that. Probably about that ring.
What ring?
Ah, no one told you about it. The fellas call it the Ring of Bacchus. It's a kind of game we play. Kuno gave us this ring. It's just a worthless bauble. But when we're at the tavern, Kuno pays everything for the man who has the ring. So we steal the ring from each other and try to trick each other. Well, actually, just the others. They won't let me play. Kuno says I'm too young to get boozed up.
That sounds like a lot of fun. But I don't have the ring, so why does the stone want to see me?
He probably wants you to steal it from someone. Since you're new, the fellas will talk to you, and it won't be suspicious.
All right, I'll have a word with him. Hey, Jakey, can you tell me something about yourself?
Want to get matey, eh? Sure, Henry. What do you want to know?
얘네 다 사형수 출신이잖아.
How did you end up in Kuno's band?
Well, I used to be a baker's hand in Prague, but all the other fellas were always on my back, always swearing at me. Sometimes they even beat me up, took everything I had. To make a bit of coin, I started going to the tavern across the road, entertaining the rich gents with jokes, playing the fool. Sometimes someone would throw me a half-groschen. One time, Kuno turned up there, and I got to talking with him. When I told him all the shit I was getting at the bakery, he offered to take me with him.
I bet you were glad to get out of there.
Yeah, though it's not like they give me much peace here either. It's all,
Jakey, come here. Jakey, go there. Jakey, get that.
Well, surely you can't be any worse
얘는
off
아닌가
here than
보네.
in the bakery.
no. Only, at the bakery, the worst I ever got was a beating. It's not like my life was in danger. But here, when those Beerman brothers are drunk, I have to keep well out of sight.
How come they bullied you at the bakery? It's usually the shy ones bullies pick on. That's not exactly you.
Not now, maybe. I learned a thing or two since then.
Oh, come on, you shy? You just said you were playing the fool and telling jokes in the tavern.
All right, I'll tell you the truth. They picked on me because I'm an orphan. The parish priest of St. Apollinaire's in Prague found me as a baby in the church one winter's morning. I spent half my childhood in parish houses and half on the street.
I see. That must have been tough.
It still is tough, I can tell you that.
What do you think about this business with Hag and Zool?
Zool? Huh. I'd rather keep that to myself. But since you're the only one who's interested in my opinion, I'll tell you, I reckon Radzig's making a big mistake. I might not be grown up yet, but I've walked in these shoes long enough to know that asking a mercenary to do something for nothing is stupid.
Wait, what are you trying to say?
Never mind. It's just a feeling I have. If Kuno heard me talking about it, he'd tan my heart.
공짜로 하는 거가 좀
Alright.
불만인가 보네. 주사위 신대는 거랑 도적 뚝배기 깨는 거가 재미라고.
Jakey sent me to you. Something about a ring? Mm-hmm. I suppose you want me to get it from someone? Mm. Who has it? I didn't quite... Is it fletching? Mm-mm. Does Dangler have it? Alright. How should I get it?
너무 오랜만에 만나서 목에 흉터 있는 애는 봤는데 걔 이름이 뭔지 생각이 안 났어.
Tell me something about yourself.
What do you want to know?
How did you and Jan end up with Kuno?
Me and my brother been riding with coin men since we was little. This was just another mercenary band for us. But Kuno seemed like a decent kind of fellow who'd treat us fair.
What do you think about this business with Hag and Zool?
Well, I'm worried Kuno is underestimating Hagen. I was at the siege of Lansenbach with the both of them, so I know a thing or two about it. Hagen's got all these noble airs and graces. These knights that talk of honor and glory. Kuno reckons they're like lost lambs on the battlefield, and he's usually right. But that Hagen ain't no lamb. He's a cold-blooded killer, by all accounts.
Sir Kuno, can you tell me something about yourself?
Drop the sir. That title brought me nothing but grief. But what do you want to know?
What about your debt to Sir Radzig? How did that come about?
A twist of fate, lad. I was fighting in the hostilities between the House of Schallenberg and the town of Colleen. Some trade dispute it was. And I fought under the
목숨을 빚졌다 뭐 그런 식으로
In the
얘기하긴
end,
했었는데.
two sides negotiated a truce. And I rode to Colleen with a delegation that was to parley there. We stopped off at an inn on the way. And it was there that I met Radzig Kobyla. I could tell at first sight he was a man after my own heart. A likeable rogue, with a sharp mind and a merry soul. We spent the whole night drinking together and talking. And in the morning, we set off together, with sore heads, but in good temper, since he was travelling to Colleen same as I was. Only, once we reached the city gates, they arrested me on the spot. Seems the burghers had it in for me, since I'd been making their lives hell for a good 6 months. On the other hand, I was a member of the peace delegation, so by rights, they shouldn't have even looked at me sideways. And then it hit me why Radzig was there. Colleen is a royal city, so he was there to represent the king's interests.
I see. So he was on the other side.
That's right. Anyway, they threw me in a dungeon, and a few days later, word reached me that the Schallenbergs had reached an agreement with the burghers. Only part of the deal was they would give them my head. And I'd surely have ended my days swinging from the town battlements if it hadn't been for Radzig. He liked me, and he could see it was a dirty trick, so he somehow squared things with the city council.
Lucky for you.
Indeed. I owe my life to Radzig, and I'll never forget it. He's asked me twice before for help. This is the third time. And how could I refuse it?
Sir Radzig told me the Rickvold family lost its wealth. How did that happen?
There's all sorts of ways to become impoverished. Nothing easier. Especially when your father's a fool. And your mother's mad as a bat.
Oh.
It's a long and twisted story. We took our name from Rickval Castle. But that actually belonged to the convent of the Poor Clares in Tynitz. And my father only leased it. You see, he knew the abbess there since they were young. Knew her very well. There was even talk that she only joined the order because her family wouldn't let her marry him. Anyway, whether he was fucking her right there in the convent, or he just took a lot of interest in scripture, he spent an awful lot of time in Tynitz.
Well, nobles can be very devout sometimes.
Not my old man. He cursed like a tanner's hand. More than once, he threatened to take a whip to our parish priest. Anyway, my mother never had strong nerves. Truth be told, her sanity was always shaky. Pa's escapades drove her cuckoo entirely. Then, one frosty December morning, I was woken by screaming and smoke. I looked out the window.
엄마가 다
I
불태워버린
saw
거야?
my mother there, in the courtyard, wreathed in flames. Behind her, the stables, the farm buildings and the tower were burning too. And she just stood there, shrieking with laughter.
Christ. Sounds like a scene straight out of hell.
Hellish it was, I can tell you. Me and my sister Adela and a few servants managed to get out before the whole place went up. I couldn't get to my father. Or my little brother. Poor lad was only 7. My sister and I were left destitute after the fire. Then my cousin, Adam of Drevich, took us into his castle. A few weeks later, he offered to buy what was left of our estates and sell me a small fortress near Akovnik. It was a great relief. We suddenly had some hope of a future again. So I told my sister about it. And it was the biggest mistake of my life. A week later, the two of them announced to me they were getting married. And all that was left of our estates, lands, woods, villages, Adela was to get it all as a dowry.
But surely that was for you to decide. You were the head of the family, right?
Aye. Only I barely had 17 years under my belt, and I'd just lost everything. Of course, I argued with them, and that was the only excuse they needed to kick me out of Drevich too.
That's pretty harsh.
You're telling me. But I'm not complaining. As my pa always used to say, if you can turn your hand to something, you'll never be lost. I doubt it ever crossed his mind how often I'd remember those words.
집안이 엉망진창이네요.
I'd like to ask about your...
Ask away.
What about the fellow they call Danglo?
I've never ridden with a better man, I can tell you. He doesn't say a lot, but for that, he listens all the better. Nothing escapes him.
So he scouts for you?
Not just that. It's happened more than once. I was closing a deal with someone, and Dangler told me after that he didn't like the smell of the fella nearly every time he was right. And the fellow tried to stab me in the back afterwards.
Those Behrman brothers are quite a pair.
Indeed they are. There's no more mercy in them than in, well, a bear. If I told them to skewer you on the spot, they'd do it, without batting an eyelid.
Jesus.
Oh, aye. They'd argue first about which one of them got to do the job. But they're as obedient as a huntsman's dogs. Real soldiers. Pair of them. Reliable. As long as they don't get too drunk. Then there's no keeping them under control. But nobody's perfect.
What can you tell me about Stefan?
Fletching. For one thing, he's a very resourceful fellow.
How did he come to join your band?
Well, let's just say he was in the right place at the right time. You'll find he has quite a knack for that.
What exactly happened?
Sorry, I'd love to tell you the whole story, but I'd be betraying his trust.
Oh, now you've got me curious. Maybe I should ask him myself.
Sure, why not? Our Fletch does love to converse.
What about that dumb one? How did he end up with you?
The stone? Oh, he just
어쩌다
kind of
따라왔다고?
tagged along.
Just like that.
Aye, just like that. We were riding from Olomouc to a castle past Kladsko when we ran into him and some other wayfarers camping along the way. You know how it goes. We made acquaintance with them, had a drink or two. Then we travelled on together. After all, there's safety in numbers.
I'm not sure I'd be thinking that if I ran into you lot on the road.
We might have done some things I ain't proud of. But wayfarers are sacred even for me. Anyway, our fellow travellers dropped off along the way. One in Mohelnitz, one in Schoenberg, and the rest in Kladsko. Except for the stone. He stuck with us the whole way. The fellas kept asking him what he was after. But of course he never said a word. When we were approaching Barsdorf, I ordered the men to get rid of him. I had some business at the castle, and I didn't want any strangers sticking their noses in. Stefan tried to tell him nicely, but he just sat there, staring like he was turned to stone. That's when we gave him the name. Then the Bearman brothers tried to get him off his horse. He booted Jan in the face and knocked him out cold. Then he jumped down and felled Petter with one punch. A man who can do that is a man you want on your side. So we kept him.
Weren't you worried about having a stranger in your band? Especially one who didn't talk.
No, I figured if he can't talk, he can't tell. Besides, I've had worse.
What about Jakey?
Jakey, that boy will be the death of me. You've got to be tough on him, or he's good for nothing. But I'm fond of him, in a way.
Like a son?
I wouldn't go that far. But I've no family of my own. And unlike those other cutthroats, he seems to me like a good lad.
Well, you're pretty hard on him, though. And the others keep him on his toes, too.
The boy needs a firm hand. I was like him once, and I got the same too. If we let him be, we'd end up with a third bear man. And who'd want that?
True. 2 is more than enough.
그 나름 신경 써주네. 되게 멀리 가 있네.
Can you tell me,
What do you want to know?
why do they call you Dangler?
Because Kuno found me dangling on the end of a rope.
Ah, I see. So, he saved you from execution?
I wouldn't call it an execution exactly. At the time I was squire to the Lord of Buzitz. There was a proper knight for you, full of ideals and honour. I looked up to him as a hero. Then in one skirmish he was killed, and the foe took me captive. They stood me on a shaky wooden cross with my hands tied behind my back and a noose around my neck, for amusement. Then they rode off laughing.
But how long were you stuck there?
I couldn't tell you. Hours, maybe days. In the end, everything started going black. I could feel the devil pulling me down by the legs.
Jesus! How on earth did you survive?
I didn't. When Kuno found me, he says I was dead as a doornail. They cut me down and took the rope off me. Then someone gave me a kick and I coughed and came back to life. Sort of.
What do you think about this business with Hagen Zul?
Arganzul? Who's that?
That robber baron who's been pillaging Sir Radzig's estates. Didn't Kuno tell you?
He did. But then he says a lot of things. Zul, Radzig, Sokol and Hinek of Kravan, Wenceslas, Sigismund.
그런 거 치곤 되게
It all
자세히
goes in
들었는데.
one ear and out the other. What do I care? Ride somewhere, kill some fellas, have a drink, and go to sleep. If you're lucky, it won't rain while you're at it. That's all.
Hey, I want the Ring of Bacchus. I heard you have it.
So you come and ask me for it. That's a novel approach.
Well, you don't just have to steal it
제
from
칼
each
비싼
other.
거예요.
Why not
저기
play for
보석
it?
박힌 거
Don't
되게
play
비싼
dice.
칼이었어.
But we can duel for it.
All right. Why not?
I'll wager the ring, and you put up some groschen, all right?
Sure. I'll wager that.
That'll do it. Well, now it's something worth fighting for. You better watch out.
그새 구경꾼이 왔네.
I'll kill you. I'll fucking kill you.
싸움 구경은 돈 주고도 한다고?
Fair fight. I don't like giving it up. At least I won't get so plastered next time. Just watch how it doesn't get pinched.
I'll do that. Thanks. I got the ring from Dangler. Yeah, well, I suppose there's not much more either of us can say about it. Yeah, thanks to you too.
뭐 받은 거야? 침묵은 금이다. 그 되게 높은 단계 그거 줬네.
I'd been to see Sir Radzik.
So how did he take the news?
Well, he wasn't exactly happy about it.
I can well imagine. I wouldn't want the Zulls plundering my estates either. If I had any.
He wants us to carry on patrolling the area. There's nothing else for it.
That makes sense. I don't think he'll come to us. So we'll just have to hope we run into him. I'd like to check out the big forest to the north, and then carry on via Ujits.
Sure.
Mount up then, and let's go.
나도 빠른 이동할 때 말 타고 있는 것처럼 표시해주지.
Please, can we stop for a bit? My arse is aching, and I've such a thirst I could drink a moat dry.
Same here.
What do you say, Chief?
Not to worry. We'll reach Ujits soon. We'll spend the night there.
I heard they've got a peculiar priest there. They say he drinks like the devil himself.
There's nothing strange about that. Every other man of the cloth is a swill pot.
Or a lecher.
Or both.
Quiet. Listen.
For the love of God, help! Please, please, sir, help me.
Don't worry, lass. Nothing to fear. We're with Sir Radzik, in the manner of speaking. What's the matter?
These brigands came. The menfolk fled and left us there. They started pillaging the place, drinking whatever they could find and smashing things. I ran off, but the other girls... You've got to save them. Please, I beg you.
Easy, lass. Drinking, you say?
Aye, sir. They rolled the castle